Good morning. I'm in New York. It's morning right now, daylight savings time, and I'm feeling very refreshed and continuing on some of my holiday name tags, which I celebrate Christmas, so that's why you see reds and greens here, but you could adapt this to whichever holiday you celebrate, or birthdays, Valentine's Day, anything in the future, the coming months. So I'm Danny Girl Art, and you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Danny with an I, Dani, Girl Art. And I hope that at the end of this video, you hit subscribe and like and share with other people that might be interested. Okay, so here we have a bunch of tiles that I started working on last night, and we'll revisit these in a little bit. What you're going to need is either you could use rectangles. I'm using squares. Here is a traditional Zentangle tile, or you could use a bijou, depending on the size of the gift that you have. My gifts happen to be very large this year, so I've been using the larger tiles. But in the past, I have used bijous also. You might want to use a 5 tile. And I'm keeping things pretty simple. You can use any mediums you want. I have a gold jelly roll, and then I'm using a red and green tombow. So again, it's going to be up to you what you want. Some of my tiles I have filled up to the edge. Some of them I have just 1 or 2 colors, and they have some white border. Some of them I did in gold writing, and then I did some tangling on the sides. So it's a matter of preference. One is not right, one is not wrong. Here's an all gold one. It's completely up to you. So let's get started. I'm going to choose the starting green for filming. It does make for a little bit of a better sample for the viewers. So I'm taking my tombow and I'm taking my smaller side, and I'm going to pick a letter. I'm going to start with, I have a gift that somebody's name starts with the letter B, and it's a good example because it has inside shapes as well. You could have it standing straight up, you could have it on an angle, but nice and big, you're going to write your letter. I don't do it in pencil first. I just go with the flow and see what happens. So from here, I'm going to begin to double up some of my lines. And if I want to switch to the brush side to fill in, I can go ahead and do that, or stick with the smaller side if you're more comfortable with that. And you can do this however you want. You can make some of these lines a little thicker, some a little thinner. You can make them all the same thickness. I like to sometimes make some sides a little bit thicker than others, but you're going to give some volume and weight to your letters so that that stands out just a little bit more. Okay, so I have my letter, and continuing with the thin side of my marker, I am going to go around and add an aura going all the way around the outside. If you have letters that have openings in the center, add an aura in the inside as well. Turn your tile as you need to make it more comfortable. So I have my letter and my auras, and from here, I'm going to redefine some of the lines and come up and add a little fescue. I don't overthink it. I just kind of come off some of the edges. Wherever it feels comfortable for my marker or pen to go is where I add. And more is not better. It's, think about just how yours looks and what you need and where you want to place them. And we can always go back and add more with the future steps. So that being said, I'm just going to pause here You can also, where these fescue valley in and make a V, you can go in and drop some ink in for a little bit of weighting. Once you feel happy with what you have, you're going to go around again and you're going to aura everything. I do quite enjoy I'm so used to working with the micron pens, which I absolutely love, but these are quite lovely. The thickness of these when you're making a lot of something and you're kind of going at a faster pace than looking for fine detail, these Tombos are working nicely. I do have to mention that they smudge very easily though, so be mindful of your hands and make sure that you're not wiping them across the tile as you're drawing. Be very, very, very careful of that. I'm also going to add an aura in these inside letters. And here's a good example. I don't feel like I can go around here and come back without my pen bumping. So instead, I'm just going to stop there. And if I was drawing on my own, I would be turning my tile and come back like that. So now I have this remainder of a shape. I could go in an aura here, but I like some contrast. So yes, I am going to go in and add a aura, but that piece I'm going to ink in. All right. Now we can add some other things. You could add flux, you could add orbs, you could add moonberry, you could add whatever you want. I'm going to, for this one, stick with some orbs. And I like to add orbs in where they're Ving in, and then just ink in a little bit of the space around it. So here I have a V shape. I'm going to add an orb, and you can vary sizes. Where it made that little white triangle, I'll ink that in and then ink the pieces around it. I could also, at this point, if I wanted to add more fescue, I could do that as well. So I think I'm going to add another fescue in the top of there. And I'm going to turn this tile. I'm going to add a orb in here. So the thing about this video is we're not going to be exactly the same. Unless you're doing letter B, it could be if you want to practice, but we're all going to be different. And that's just the fabulous part of this. And don't worry, like if you get a line and you bump into something by accident, just keep going. I'm going to show you remember, there's no mistakes, but when I was doing this one here, I bumped into that line. I wasn't throwing out my card and starting over. I kept going. And now, yes, you see that there is not a space there, but if I hadn't pointed it out, it would have been fine. Nobody would have noticed. So you just want to keep going. Okay, so I've added a few more elements and I'm going to repeat now. So that means I'm going to go in and I am going to aura again. And we're going to keep repeating in this fashion, adding little elements, inking in little pieces, and adding our auras. And you're going to decide how far you want to go out. Do you want to take up the whole tangle? Do you want to switch to another color? A lot of times what I will do also is look at the colors of my wrapping paper that I'm going to be using to see that I like how my colors are going to be in my tile that I'm creating. So these this year happen to match what I am doing. So that's one other reason why I chose this. Some people really like blues for the holidays, which is quite lovely. So maybe that might be your theme as well. Maybe just want to do all gold and silver. You'll see, play around. I love using brown paper, paper craft, and oh, that got a little not how I wanted, but that's okay. I'll just ink it in. Totally fine. I like it now. So a lot of times I will just take brown, like package paper. If you were sending off a a gift through the parcel, and I'll just not eat. Sometimes I'll just leave it like that, wrap it, and just add beautiful bows to it. And then with these tags, it will look gorgeous. Or you could do some stamping on it. You could do some Zentangling on it. There's so many different fun options. So I'm back to oraing, and I'll see when I'm done with this aura what I want to do. I think I want a few more orbs, and then that might be my last layer of green. So let me just finish this and see where I'm at. Yeah, this here, I definitely want an orb down here. And I think I actually would like another fescue here, inking in that little valley. Maybe another little orb in here. Do another orb here. Again, just have fun. You're not going to mess it up. There's no right or wrong with this. All right, so this will be my last green border, I think. All right, so I'm going to pause there. I'm going to go to my gold jelly roll. And I am going to aura now with my jelly roll going around. And I like to do this all at the same time. I'll add a second aura and start to ink in. So that's a little bit of a thicker gold border. By all means, go ahead and leave it thin if that works for your tag. Again, this is wet. It takes a little bit to dry, so be careful of your hands. I try to keep my hands off of my tile, as you can see. And then my non-dominant hands, I keep a finger in the middle, lifted off of the paper, so that I can just turn it easily and not get my hand into the jelly roll. You know, all things, tips that you're probably already doing, just throwing it out there verbally. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you've been having a hard time smudging, and hopefully this will help you. All right, so you could color in the orbs if you wanted to. I'm just gonna put this aside while it's wet and drying. You could have a little glare mark left, so that's one thing you could do. You could turn those orbs into a tangle that is called Moonberry. And that's these. There is normally another little aura around the squiggle in the middle, but I did not have enough room to do that. So you could do that. You can see here, this one I added some flux into it. I was liking the orbs better though. So, you know, and any other thing that you want. This spacing, I did multiple letters for mom. So it would be the same thing if you're doing a cluster of letters, starting with writing it regular in a thin fashion, and then doubling up your lines, adding your aura, and then your elements, inking and oraing, and just repeating. But I had some space left over, so I went in and added some moonberry, and some, I'm drawing a blank, hollis, I believe, along the outside. All right, so, I mean, there's so many different options. Again, you can go all the way to the edge. it's going to be up to you. This one I put in a Christmas ornament. And I think I'm actually gonna, this one doesn't feel done to me. This is the last one I had been working on. I'm gonna add a border to this one as well. So I'm going to, for my final step, take a hole puncher and punch a hole in one of the sides, one of the corners. And this is where I will loop my ribbon of choice, and I will attach it to my gift. So again, just the other ones that I have here to share with you is an L, all in red and gold. I have a green, and these are for different wrapping paper colors. So that's why these wound up being all in gold. And here's another one that is all filled up. So if you look at the two here, same color combination, orbs filled in, orbs not filled in, white background, no backgrounds. Again, and also you might find if you have a ton of these to make, you might want to just vary it to keep yourself interested in doing this. All right, please share my video, subscribe to my channels, and tag me at #DannyGirlArt if you decide to work on this project. I hope you have fun.